Today is April 27th, 2023. Been a hectic day again. First, people followed me out to my job and off in the distance screaming crazy crap. Again. I played that one tape of, everybody knowing that I was drugged, I was framed, I was photoshopped, them admitting in places, police departments knowing. Okay? And their stalking tapes. And how sick of SOB Dave is for on either April 15th or 16th, he had his phone is tapped from the case. You can almost guarantee that one. Main subject, an officer went to Dave about the threats on my life. He confessed to our son Danny that where I was talking to Shay the night before about somebody stalking me about that Eric confessing, and I hope they get him, and showing a picture of somebody in the woods, and she's like, how creepy is that? I said, what's really creepy is I had marks, I was throwing up, couldn't keep anything down, dizzy, somebody was playing with me big time. Well, on the 16th was my daughter-in-law Jen. Her mom passed away a month ago, and they had a memorial service for her. I go to leave, I go out to my car is bugged from the case, and these people hacked into it and sold it. Okay. Gabe and Shay walk up, my grandson and his girlfriend, to Danny and Jen, my son and daughter-in-law, and her brother. Said, I heard what she said to Shay. None of this is funny. And he said, I called my dad. He said it was some guy named Pete on his own up there doing it to her. And he knew it. And he had it set up. She could never get no money out of this. And some agent went up to that church and was looking on the threats on their life and was asking everybody, and dad seen it. Okay. I'm like, oh my God. He confessed. It was him having some guy named Pete on his own. Where they were looking for the churches hiring some crazy stalkers, Steve and Eric. Dave had some guy named Pete on his own stalking me, Dave rape drugging me, and photoshopping those things. It was Dave. Was some guy named Pete. He confessed. The next day, I take my client to Altman North. People were in there. Karen's ex-husband actually read it out well. I go to Maslin. Some idiot woman, the next day, is down there and calls me a filthy word. I'm not a filthy word. Okay? They do this to intimidate me. Okay? They're sick. They're working for my ex-husband. They try to kill me. That was human trafficking me under drugs. Beating me, having men rape me under drugs, and I had marks. I had a yeast infection all summer long. Thought the well water was affecting my skin. And I couldn't figure out where all the marks were coming from. And I'm throwing up, and I'm dizzy, and migraines, and it was awful. Oh, I talked to the doctor's office. It is documented. I had all those symptoms. Here they were date rape drugging me, lying to people that had sodium pentothal reports. How much you want to bet? See, this is where it's not made any sense. None of this makes sense. You call the hotline. An FBI agent will go tell on you, especially if they're going to look into it. How much you want to bet it was some guy named Pete on his own? Dave's hired stalker, pretending to be FBI to pay more. For my God, I had an FBI agent. My office is right there. How dare you bring her up here with threats on her life? Where they had the house bugged, stalking me. Dave hired a stalker, a hitman, having him break in, date rape, drug me, beat me, rape me, and leave me with an infected private area, bruises everywhere. And I'm throwing up sick, and I'm thinking, if he's beating on me, why am I not waking up with all these marks on me? And I'm throwing up, and I'm dizzy and almost passing out outside. I'm drugged the hell out. And he kept me like that all summer long. So, how much you want to bet? That wasn't well. How much you want to bet it was some guy named Pete on his own? And then they framed that agent. Because it didn't make any sense. If they're going to look into something, you're not even going to know they're involved until they arrest you. You may know that the police are looking around. because Katie's leaving threats in the mall that they're going to try to have me killed with people, and Dave already knew that one. You know what I mean? See, but see, then it doesn't explain Will's bad behavior. When I try to tell him what happened at Huntington Bank, of the guy, I hear the voice, I can't believe she's here. I stand up, he comes behind me and threatens to knife me, and the Pizza Hut lady's like, are going to stab her and get it over with. And I turn my car into the bank real quick and got in front of someone. Pizza Hut lady walks over to the mail banker. I get paid to watch her. The mail banker screams at her several times. She walks off, and the guy that tried to kidnap me, tried to carjack me, just threatened to knife me and walk off, too. I tried to tell him that. Was there a camera above the bench? I don't know. Doesn't matter if there's a damn camera. See what I mean? He didn't want that guy. Why didn't he want him? He went on to take Marlisa's niece and other people. He's a serial killer for the Detroit boys. He let him get away. But he had people looking for the what a shame guy. See, that's where it makes no sense. With him having the 2 Perry police reports of the attempts on my life, falling rented, Dave knowing where the security system was. There's 2 documented attempts right there. The Katie's telling 3 people in the mall it's her church trying to have me killed, and I'm trying to tell him the guy that tried to kidnap me before showed up in Ravenna. And he didn't want to hear it. Why? That's where it's why. Made me plead for my life, list me informant, 5,000 months. See, Dave already knew. And with them setting up their own surveillance, why didn't they find their stalking cameras? Good question. And why didn't they find out some guy went to pay her and pretended he was Will? Did Will not give a damn? Because he listed me informant, 5,000 month diplomatic immunity. I had my own security team that they've been showing up, where they used to go to work with me. I had stalkers, I had people trying to shoot me driving, I had a gunshot and I had a hide on. And the Detroit boys and the Kingsmen are going crazy down here on me, and it's my ex-husband hiring them. So where the hell was he when I have to talk to somebody on the phone that years later the police are picking up my case and using my case to get these people that are human trafficking, and it's a big human trafficking gang. They knew about the Texas group involved. I said, like the Kingsman, yeah, there was a retired judge in Texas involved in this big human trafficking scam. And they're using your case to get them, and then 3 weeks later, they do a 800 people sweep. I had over 200 human traffickers and drug traders around me. Now, where the hell was he? There's so many crimes in that legally bugged house, it's not funny. See, nothing they have where they say, oh, some guy named Pete has it set up, she can never get any money. They can't even look at the stalking tapes. There's nothing credible about stalking tapes. Where they're already admit they use sodium pentothal on me. It's a lethal outlaw drug you lie under. They admitted to drugging me. Photoshopping things. And to get stuff out of me, they were beating me under drugs. They admitted they were letting people rape me under drugs. My ex-husband is not my pimp. He admitted to a lot of crimes on April 15th or 16th to our son Danny. And his phone should be tapped for Karen around the house stay case. Or FBI case, or whatever you want to call it. Some of them call it a Karen's will. Now, what the hell happened to Will? My money, they still owe it to me, is for working this case. They can't just take somebody's money. You offer them $5,000 a month for working a case. You can't take it. You have to give it to that person. Some guy's like, well, what was on that tape? So hold on. It doesn't matter what's on those tapes. They already admitted they drugged me and told me to say it. They admitted they photoshopped a shower scene. Their tapes are not credible, and they will not be able to be looked at in court. No officer would ever look at them, or agent, because it's entrapment. It's a legal search and seizure. There's a Fourth Amendment right to privacy over the home and offices. You can't be in the inner part of somebody's house or the inner part of an office. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements. Even my friend that worked at the prosecutor's office, why haven't they arrested him yet? And I'll tell you what, if they go to arrest him, they better make sure they do it at work. because it's going to come down to Dave has an arsenal of guns, giant cans of gunpowder, and he'll blow that house to hell. And they better not arrest him in his truck. He's got a handgun with a bullet in it, in the chamber, and a big clip. So, yeah. So that's where the whole thing of it is. He even framed that agent. But that doesn't excuse the agent's behavior on the phone. And I Googled where he said he was, the Starr County FBI task force. So what I did is I called, when Dave was outside threatening Dixie and the baby's life and had a list, I Googled, make sure he was real. Called down there and they all, well, he's got a list. I'm working on it. He already knew. So where did it go? You can't just leave somebody in high danger of failure to protect his abuse and misconduct. He left me up there to die and let human traffickers abuse the hell out of me and sell police information. And the sheriffs and marshals had to pick back up the case and grab 800 bad people across the nation. He could have been a local hero. There's not one thing on those tapes that are missable. See, they tried to blame the Portage County Sheriffs. I went to Miss Hall. What these people are saying they did is illegal. I said, you couldn't look or listen. It's the Fourth Amendment. Yes. Officer Reinhardt in Louisville. Even the FBI can't be in your home outside a protected light case with statements. They go to jail. It's entrapment. It's a legal search and seizure. Dave can't hire a hitman to go in and drug up, Photoshop, beat, rape his wife, and leave the poor thing sick, throwing up, dizzy, almost passing out with infections, and not know what's happening to her, and she's got marks all over. See, that's the thing. You can't use one thing off their tapes, nor can they look at them. That's where the whole thing of it is. They can't even look at them. They're stalking tapes done by a hitman my ex-husband hired. And they have nothing credible. And then the drug dealers have confessed that they drugged me and told me to say it before. They have admitted to photoshopping everything, photoshopping shower scenes, something about a feminine white pee in the other room. That's disgusting too. I don't know. They weren't allowed in my home. And they're not admissible, and they can't look or listen. See, that's where the whole thing of it is. And if the FBI didn't know that they had stalking cameras doing this to me, they were date rape drugging me, beating me, and human trafficking me, where the hell is their head? And why didn't they find their stalking cameras? Huh? And they already knew I was in high danger. So, yeah. Because I almost got shot in the head driving the first 45 days. Yeah, that money is still owed to me. You can't just take somebody's money. You are promised money for working a case. You get that money. Someone said Will stole the money on the first day. Did he? They still owe it to me. They better go after him. And they need like they said, he has a lot to answer for. Do you realize who he let go? A serial killer. And he can't know that Dave had some guy named Pete doing this to me on his own. And it didn't rest Dave. And he knew he couldn't look at the man that's threatening my life and trying to have me murdered. And he's a main subject in one attempt already. That he's hired some guy on his own to stalk me, a hired hitman. And that he was drugging me, photoshopping me, and human trafficking me out and let men rape me under drugs. Leaving me beat, drugged, throwing up, and sore, and not know what's wrong with me. Amnesia drugs, you're walking for 4 to 6 hours as a human zombie. I am owed that money. I even got tortured in protective custody. And I almost got shot driving. There's a shooting night. There may be people dead. People have been taken because of his incompetency. And they owe me the money for working this case. I told the Department of Justice. And there's a good chance they framed that agent up there at that church. Because it never made sense. Okay, There's a guy up there saying he's FBI, asking about the threats on live, Pamper's freaking out, da da da. Dave told Danny about it, okay? They don't tell you. And then Will bullies me the next day and then lets me inform with a $5,000 a month, diplomatic immunity. And then the next day, and the main cop over, a heavy-set white guy with white hair, shows up. I just got back from asking Dave about the threats on her life. Well, Katie's leaving threats in the mall. Of course, a cop can show up and ask him questions, but that's the requirement of the Department of Justice. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements. It's entrapment. It's illegal search and seizure. They can't even look at it. They look at it, they will lose their badge, and they will go to jail. And on top of it, it's all shit. Because the nurse in Mercy Medical, the only thing she had me on was just wiping some water off her clothes on. No drug confession, no shower scene, no nothing, just brushing something off. No wrongdoing and no wrong saying. And she wasn't the only one. A group of women in January of 22, we came down to verify she's never said she did anything wrong before. And she just wiped straight down and she didn't expose herself. And I wouldn't care about that. I thought, lady, you don't even have the right to judge. And those people raped her, and they were talking about in Circle K gas station on Fulton Road. They admitted in front of everybody that from the Department of Disability to people in Burlington Coat Factory to people in Wendy's to screaming it on the streets that they drugged me and told me to say stuff before. And I had marks, and I was throwing up and almost passing out. And whatever they gave me, after it wore off, my heart was racing. I was sick. I was out of breath. And I would almost pass out. Dar, that got taken, my one coworker from my job, she got taken from a bar with a date rape drug and got raped and was raising somebody's kid. And she had the same symptoms, and she has no memory either. We both have the same weird memory, though, of screaming at the top of your lungs attached to nothing. And she was violently throwing up too and dizzy. See, date rape drugs, there's 300 of them that erase your memory and you're sleepwalking. Makes you a human zombie. And they already admitted they had sodium pentothal reports. It's a lethal outlaw drug. You say yes to anything. And they couldn't even get it. It's been outlaw since 17. They just lied to everyone. The FBI needs to give me my money. It's almost cost me my life. You know, I was talking to the nurse at my doctor's today. And I was telling her how, you know, what we just went over. She's like, she went back through my chart. She said, you were treated for migraines, throwing up, dizzy, and you did have yeast infections all summer. And I told her how they were roofing me and I had marks and da-da-da. And she said, she said, he's a vile, sick animal. She said, I'm glad you got away from him. Not many women are that lucky to get away from someone like that. I walked in the park tonight. Some kid said, should I see her? Should I say something? The guy said, no, we already know what that sick bastard did to her. Nobody's to say a word. They already know everything's drugged and photoshopped. And stalking videos that the police and the FBI and no judge would ever look at. But they will arrest him for hiring a hitman to stalk me, drug me, and human traffic me, and sex traffic videos of us together, and then obtaining and dispensing kiddie porn. Him violating his family, he will go to jail. His admission, they waited for Dave to admit to it, took him 4 years. That it was him with some guy named Pete on his own doing it to me before. They finally got him.